So if you see over here, we've got this production order. So this particular document, sorry, it's not a production order, but yes, this document is a posting change document which got generated once we emptied the can or the container in the Kanban board. So the moment we did that, there was a delivery document which got created, and that delivery document reached here as a posting change delivery document. Now, the moment it landed, so it was in a red status, it was not in a green status. The reason behind that was we have not done the setup in terms of the warehouse process type determination for this particular delivery document type. Okay. So the delivery document type, if you see over here, the document type is TWPR, posting change, document category is SPC, and the item type is TWPR. So we have not done, so if you see the process type Z310, we have not set up the warehouse process type determination. So whenever the delivery landed, the first thing that it needs to check is that if it is going to make the goods movement, what is the warehouse process type which needs to be determined? So this is a standard EWM architecture. So the moment it landed, since we have not set it up in the configuration side, so it gave us an error. So I have manually maintained this warehouse process type over here by clicking on edit mode and just maintain the warehouse process type. And then immediately the document, once I click on this check button and save it, then the delivery document becomes activated with a release status. Okay, so the green status, and then from there onwards, we can start making the goods movement. So for this particular document, we just went in and follow on functions and went into warehouse task and created the warehouse task for the movement. So there was a subsequent, once the warehouse task got completed. So since this is a S-log to S-log movement, which got triggered, a 411 movement. So if you click on PPF actions, so you would see that the send ERP delivery message was triggered, and then there was this queue, which was subsequent queue, which was triggered. So this queue will basically do the posting of the 411 movement type. So if you check out the ECC delivery, sorry, I keep saying ECC. Okay, so the S4 delivery. So if you go inside this, and then you click on document flow, and you would see the material document which has been posted. Okay, so if you go inside the display document and check out the details of this material document, you would see that from the what has happened is from 171S, it has been sent to 171D to this particular storage location. So this is what has happened. Okay. So kindly check the recording, how and what we actually did to achieve this. I have shown very clearly over there at the configuration level in EWM where I have done the changes, where I have changed the number range assignment and everything. So I would request you, if you guys can go through it, it will be helpful for you from your future project perspective as well. In your current project, you guys are working in a support project, or for future plans. I don't know how the setup is. If the current association that you have with your client is just for one plant, or for the other plants also, you guys are going to do the rollouts. So from that perspective as well, if you guys are doing the rollout, it's going to be very, very helpful for you guys. Okay. So the thing that we will try to cover is receiving of the finished products. Now, this is something that we need to understand, because we need to know that once the finished goods are produced, how do we receive it within the EWM environment, right? So in this session, what we are going to do is we are going to see the setup that is required within EWM in order to receive the finished products against a particular manufacturing order. So there are two ways to achieve this. So when we are using advanced production integration. So the first way is to use the RFUI transaction. And within the RFUI transaction, so let me quickly give you an overview first. So within the RFUI transaction, if you see, we have this concept of, so I'll just click back once, the inbound processes. And within the inbound processes, because we need to receive the handling units first. So we will go inside the receiving part. Yeah, so the receiving of handling units. And within the receiving of handling units, we have the option of receiving HU by, HU stands for handling unit, and we go to HU by manufacturing order. So when we click on manufacturing order, we need to enter the work center. Okay. So why do we require a work center? So because whenever we are performing any sort of activity from a packing perspective, from a picking perspective, from a production perspective, system architecture is such that you need to create a work center within EWM. So I know that you also have a work center concept in production planning, but this is a different work center. So we have this work center created in EWM. And once you log into this work center, then This work center will have an associated bin. Now remember that as I had mentioned in that diagram as well, in the Excel diagram which we had prepared, that the entire warehouse, including your production supply area, your receiving end of conveyor line, and all those things. So this entire warehouse layout is mapped in the EWM system within storage types and storage bins. So whenever we are creating a work center for this purpose, we will be creating storage bins and we'll be assigning the bins to this particular work center. Okay. So provided, but in this whole exercise that I'm showing, this is when you are using, okay. As I had told you earlier, that majority of the companies, when it comes to receiving of goods, they will be doing it through a third-party system, an MES system. And that MES system, once the goods are being consumed or the goods are being received, there will be an integration framework through which an IDOC will be sent, say, for example, or if you have a different means of communication, PI document, or if you're using EWM MFS, so then at that point in time, you can use telegram structures as well. So telegrams will come into the EWM system. So there are different means and mediums of communication, which will in turn tell the EWM system that this is the quantity, this is the packaging material, and this is my pallet number, which has been received. So in the EWM system will just be updated with that information. So that means the EWM system will just be a slave system in terms of receiving of the pallets. But it's not necessary that it will be for the overall processes inside the warehouse. For outbound, it might not be there, say for example. So like that, we need to understand what are the means and methods through which we can do it. But if you want to do the receiving through EWM, this is one of the ways that I'm showcasing right now. Okay. So once you click on this option of logging on to a work center, then you need to just push in the work center number. And then you would see, we'll do that exercise, try to achieve this. And then we will see how we are scanning the product and entering all the details, for providing the handling unit type or the packaging material type, creating a HU. And then once we do that, an inbound delivery gets generated. An inbound delivery gets generated, and this inbound delivery has a different delivery document type, INBM. So this is an inbound delivery from production. Okay. And then once you receive the goods against this inbound delivery, it will get updated in ECC as well. Okay. So let's try to achieve this and let's try to complete and see whether we already have an existing setup. If yes, well then good, it will save our time. If we do not have an existing setup, we will create that setup, and that will be beneficial for you guys as well, so that you can see what are the different mappings that are done from a system perspective. Okay, so we start off by checking out. The first step is to see whether we have a warehouse process type which is defined. Because why do we need a warehouse process type? We need a warehouse process type in order to have the goods receiving being done in the EWM system. So we go inside the configuration part, and then we go inside the cross-process settings configuration, and within cross-process settings configuration, we have warehouse task, and within that we have defined warehouse process type. Now let us check for the warehouse 1710. Now we need to see whether we have anything from the receiving of handling units at the production level, okay, or put away from the production supply area. So do we see, I see replenishment, production supply area, distributive, staging, put away, warehouse supervision, staging for production, Kanban posting for PSA. Okay, so we do not have any warehouse process type which has been defined for put away to the product from the production supply area. So what we will do, we will create one. Yeah, so we will take maybe this one, say for example. So I will just copy this, and then warehouse process category 1 is okay, because this is something meant for the put away purpose. So I will be selecting 1, that is fine. So therefore I have selected, when I'm copying the warehouse process type, I'm selecting a 1, which is meant for already for put away, so that I don't have to maintain all these entries manually. The activity will be PTWY. So manual warehouse task is forbidden, that is fine. No automatic replenishment. Okay, activity area, WCR activity, let me check this. Okay, the destination activity area is considered. Warehouse order creation rule is there. So I'm just going to remove this because we don't know. This is custom warehouse order creation rule, which is mapped within this Y116 warehouse process type. So I will just change it to Z100. Okay, so this is done. So what I'm doing over here is, so this is the warehouse process type, which I'm defining for put away. But before the put away, there is the goods receipt movement, right? So for the goods receipt movement, I need to make sure that there is a source bin which is mapped within this. So the system will understand that this, if the source bin is this is the warehouse process type that needs to be determined. Okay. So I'm putting it, if you see the storage type which I've selected is Y915. And if you see the description of Y915, let me just scroll down. It is goods receipt in production. Okay. Now let's see if there's any bin which is already there. There should be a bin. Yes. So GR production bin is there. Done. And we'll save this. The next step is to determine the warehouse process type. Right. So we will go inside this particular node. Okay. So right now the warehouse process type that is being used is Y116. As you can see, for the document type INBM. Right. So, and the item category is not mapped over here, but we can maintain it accordingly as well. So what I will do, I'll just simply select this, and then based on this, I will create a, let me just go inside. Okay, I maintain this, and then Z110, sorry, my bad, Z100. Okay, now once this is done, so the next thing that we need to perform is creation of the work center. As I had mentioned earlier, we need a work center because when we are doing the receiving using RFUI, we'll have to make sure that there is a defined work center within that. So now we go back inside configuration. So we go inside work center, we go inside directly defining of the work center. So we already have one work center, which is this one, YPW1, which is the production line work center. So let's see what is the mapping which is done over here. The storage type is already mapped. So the repacking work center is there. Work center layout is also fine. So let me just activate this so that we can use it in RF as well. And once this is done, so no consolidation group check stop on route, that's fine. Repacking active warehouse task not allowed, that is also fine. So this is your standard work center definition configuration. Now there are certain things over here. If you can see, there is something called external step. So this external step is something if we are using process-oriented storage control in EWM. So at that point in time, you will be defining our own Z steps or external steps. So if you want to assign an external step to a particular work center, we need to do the assignment over here within this configuration. So what happens is that now what is an external step? So for different processes in the warehouse, before the put away, it goes through multiple packing, consolidation, whatever. So I'll be defining different processes. It might be different areas in the warehouse. So what will happen is that once a particular step is completed, suppose the goods receipt is done, and after the goods receipt, the goods need to be moved to the actual packing area because it needs to be consolidated. So what I will do, I will create an external step for packing, and I will assign it over here against this work center, because to do the packing, I need a work center, right? So that is what I will do. System will automatically create warehouse tasks for the operator to move the material from the goods receipt area to the packaging area. So once the warehouse operator confirms that the goods have been staged in the packaging area, confirms the destination bin of the packaging area, then the completion or the packing activity you can perform using the SCWM pack transaction. Okay. So there is a standard transaction which is over here. So generally in work centers, what I have seen, there is an option to do this in RF as well, but people prefer this. So they will be having a desktop or a monitor at the packing area, and then they will just simply use the work center, and then they will go inside and they'll see all the handling unit numbers, or they will simply push in the warehouse request number and they will see all the handling unit numbers coming in, and then they will be performing the packing activities one by one. Once it is being done, they will click, there's a small icon called complete step. So once you click on that, then the next warehouse task, which is from the packaging area the goods will need to be moved to the final destination bin or the put away area. So there will be a warehouse task which will be created for that automatically the moment you click on complete step. So that is how a process oriented storage control works. So this is, you're doing that to automatically allocate tasks for the warehouse operators for the different processes. Okay. So therefore we need this configuration. So right for our case, there is no requirement of anything like that because we are just doing in this particular work center, we are just going to do the receiving and the put away, right? So we are not going to do anything from a different process perspective. So therefore we are not going to do any sort of assignment over here. So this is fine. I will just save this. So YPW1, kindly remember this is our work center. Okay. Now once we are done with the work center, as I had mentioned, the work center needs to be assigned to a storage bin. Okay. So we go inside the storage bin assignment. Now creating a work center is configuration. Assignment of the storage bin to the work center is master data. So remember this particular activity, if you guys are doing a new rollout, it needs to be a part of your cutover activities. Okay, along with your bin creation, bin assignment, this is also one activity which needs to be a part of your cutover activities. So over here, so we have this and the storage bin is already assigned over here, which is GR production, which is good. Let me go inside and see. Packaging material is also there. So from that perspective, it is good for us. So that means when we are doing the receiving, then we don't have to choose the packaging material. Even if we have to choose in the F4 help, the expectation is that this will automatically come, this packaging material. Okay. So let's not change anything with this. The work center assignment is done. And now we will try to go inside RFUI and see what happens. Okay. But before we go inside RFUI, let us check an existing production order, which we can use. Let's see whether I had done any receiving against this last time. Okay, goods movement. Yes, so this is where we had done the consumption postings. Okay, so this is the product. So what we will do now is we go to RFUI, inbound processes, and then receiving of handling units, and then receiving of handling units by manufacturing order. So we go inside the work center. So our work center was YPW1. Okay, why did it throw me out? It's not letting me in the work center. That's a bit strange. That should not be the case. Okay, let's try this manufacturing order option. I will check it out why it did not allow, but it's okay. We can still use the manufacturing order option as well. If it is not letting me inside directly the work center, we can use the manufacturing order option as well. So over here, hopefully we'll be able to go inside. So our order number was, I think, one. Let me just do a reconfirmation. This is our order number. Perfect. So this is a validation of the product. Okay. So you can see that the packaging material is there. So the expectation is that the system should automatically create the handling unit. Okay. But the problem is that in this particular case, a packaging specification should also exist. But let's see what happens. Let me just click on this. There was an update, so I'm not so sure whether that note is already upgraded in the system or not. Okay, so you can see that over here, the HU that is supposed to create, it is giving us this particular error, right? So let me just do one thing. Okay, so what we can do, we'll check whether by activating the packaging specification for this particular product, let's see whether there is anything which exists for this product. Nothing, problem. Okay, let me just choose full palette over here for us. I'm going to copy the supply chain unit. So the warehouse number is 1710. This is the supply chain unit. Okay, so I'll copy the product. So this is production supply area. I'll just use this. So for us, this is the packaging material. So this one is target quantity, issue creation. Okay, I will quickly check the alternate unit of measurement for this product so that we are setting up the packaging specification correctly. We are creating 502. One pallet equals to 48 pieces. Okay, valve page quality is 48 pieces. This is recheck. Why is 502 coming? Here, this is the product, right? So one pallet equals to 6 pieces. So I'll put this as one pallet, 6 piece. This is already there. Specification pallet quantity. This is target quantity is. Why is it coming in pieces? So this is fine. Y0 type pallet quantity, that is fine.
Hey, you know, ZaranTech now offers SAP corporate training. That's right. Train your workforce in SAP with our comprehensive program. We offer customized courses, certified trainers, and hands-on labs for both individuals and businesses. Our standout features? Bespoke training, fully configured servers for practice, in-house materials, and a dedicated LMS. Plus, get session recordings and 24/7 support. From functional to technical modules, we have got it all. Choose ZaranTech for SAP training and watch your team excel. Learn, upskill, succeed with ZaranTech.
We don't want to put any rounding rules over here. Okay, so I'll save the pack spec, activate it. Activation of condition records. Okay, where did the table go? Here it is. Maintain the supply chain unit. We were selecting the wrong product. This is 0 IPT as well. IPT is already created. 0 PST product. And then finally the PSA. So once we select the PSA, the condition record should be completed now. Okay, let's save it now and see what happens. So the object was saved. I've clicked on activate. Okay, so we've got this activated. Okay, so let us go back to our RF screen now and just move out so that the screen refreshes. Let's see, let's try once again. ASIN or delivery missing as delivery header. Not allowing me to create the handling unit. Just did not change this, but ideally it should have allowed me to create the HU. Let me just try once again. So this one is ERP integration, and so there is, okay, let me check configuration. So what we will check now is whether the inbound delivery determination for the document type is correctly mapped or not. So let us quickly check that. So define document type determination for inbound delivery process. So the item type determination is maintained. So PDI is there, document type is there, okay. Then item category is there, DPD. Okay, so the document category, let me just select delivery. Okay, then giving me the same error. Okay, no problem. Let me try to see one more. So as I mentioned to you, there are two ways of receiving this. So let's see if I get the similar error when I'm trying to create the HU using the other method as well. Okay, so for that, we need to use a transaction called GRPI. So let me first quickly check that. I'll run it quickly and then I will explain to you. Why is it not allowing me to create? So let me do one thing. Let me just quickly check we'll take a 5 minutes break later on, and then I will check in the system why it is not allowing me to create this. Okay, so we will continue with, so there, I mean, what happens is that there is this particular transaction in EWM called SCWM GRPI. So in your client's case, which is the option that you guys are using for creation of the inbound delivery? Is it coming through an interface, through an IDOC, ALE or something like that? Or you guys are using this particular transaction is being used to create the delivery for the receiving of the finished goods? What is being done in the scenario, guys?
No, it is like we receive it through RFUI. Like, once it is received, it gets created. So I'm not sure.
Receiving is done through RFUI. That is your scanning part, right? Or I mean, how is the inbound delivery getting generated? There must be an inbound delivery against which the receiving is happening.
Right.
Yeah. So how is that getting generated?
Manoj, do you have idea? Like, Manoj is call. No, Ronnie, like.
So these are the questions you guys should, okay, so it's okay, but you guys should try to understand how your process works, right? When you guys are working. So I understand from a support, since you are working in support, is it, Mariam?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so a support I understand, because you guys are only working whenever a ticket is being raised based on the ticket, only on that particular area you are working. But this is just a suggestion. Whenever you're working on a project like this, try to understand how the whole cycle works. If you know how the whole cycle works, it will be easy for you to deliver resolutions for your tickets. It will be easy for you to deliver any change requests, enhancements, whatever. So from that perspective as well, it's easier to understand, right? So I'm talking with you right now, but it's not for you only, it's for the entire team, because we should know how it is working. Okay, so as I mentioned, the inbound delivery can also be created. The whole creation of the inbound delivery part, the triggering points which are required, the exact input parameters, all those things can be automated as well. Okay, now from an automation perspective, what I mean is that it can be integrated with a third-party system, and all the required information can flow in, and the system will create an inbound delivery. So generally, from a manufacturing, if we are using the advanced production integration part, the inbound delivery is first created in. Always remember that when we are using advanced production integration, the inbound delivery will first get created in EWM. When you post the goods receipt movement, at that point in time, there is a BAPI which gets triggered to ECC through the queue, and at that point in time, the delivery is created in ECC as well, and the goods movement is subsequently posted. So it is the other way around, vice versa. So far what we have seen, the documents are getting created, the PO gets created. Suppose we are doing receiving of raw materials or components from external vendors. So there will be a purchase order created in ECC or S4. Against the purchase order, we create an inbound delivery in ECC or S4, and then that inbound delivery gets replicated and distributed to. But when it comes to receiving of the goods from the production order, using advanced production integration, the inbound delivery will get first created in EWM, and then from there onwards, it will be triggered to ECC. Okay, and it will be triggered when the moment it gets created. Does it get created in ECC? The answer is no. It will only get created once the goods receipt postings have been completed in EWM. At that point in time, a PPF action is triggered. So what is a PPF action from an EWM perspective? A PPF action is a post-processing framework, which is basically an output which gets triggered, which in turn triggers the queue. So in EWM, we don't use output type determination, we use PPF. So if you see the APO environment in SAP Transportation Management, in SAP EWM, so all these modules, they are using PPFs. It's called PPF actions, right? So within PPF actions, you have the action profiles. Within the action profiles, you have the action types, and there you will be defining what are the actions. So there are standard PPF actions which are defined, or you can customize or modify it as well. Okay. Quantity, the staging determination. Good. Okay, I'm getting the same error. So if you see over here, when I'm trying to use GRPI as well over here, so I'm getting the same error. So that's good actually. So we can actually identify what is the missing thing and we can set it up. So there is a functionality of creating the item and header over here directly. So that is not working. So I'm not so sure why exactly it's not working. Maybe the patch in this server is not correct. And then there is the other option of dragging and dropping. So the dragging and dropping option is working. Okay. So let me just quickly, here we go, run this again. So I'm just entering the manufacturing order number. So the item comes up over here and you just select and drag the item over here. Okay, the document type is coming in and I will click on form view. So once I click on form view, all these things get updated. So there are a couple of things. First of all, the goods movement bin and everything is not correct. Plus the document type, which has been determined. If you see, it is INB, whereas we want INBM for us, the document type, which is also incorrect. So therefore, from mapping perspective, there is something which is missing. Okay. So which needs to be corrected. So now what we will see is that whether we can, because if I try to click on this, so it is saying that this is the same error that we were getting in RF. So when we are getting it in, when we are getting an error in RF, so if we want to put a debugger on this error message. So it becomes a bit tricky because to get the message number, then you have to go, there's a different route to do it. Okay. So we can get it from there as well, but from a GUI perspective, this is much easier, right? So what we will do, let's see, because sometimes what happens if it is complex debugging and then it will take time. So if that is the case, we will not do that and we'll move ahead. But if we get a straight cut, because if it takes time, then I will be spending time over here in this session to just identify the error. I will identify the error and I will show it to you in session. That is not an issue. But okay, so let's try to see if we can get if it's a straight cut error or what. Okay, second sticky notes. No, it's 410. So this is 410. Okay, where is this reference document number coming from? This is the problem. Okay. So what has happened, just for everyone's understanding, okay? If you see, there are reference document categories over here. ASN, BOL, ERO, ERP, and Q01. Okay. So each one of them have got a different description. One is an advanced shipping notification. One is a bill of lading, ERP original document, ERP, and inspection document. So if you see, the error that we were getting in RFUI was also the same error. And when we are trying to do it through GRPI also, we are getting the same error. So what it is saying is that the mapping of the document types is not correct. Okay, so we'll quickly check that. So you can see over here, there is a profile SCWM INB underscore PRD. So this particular profile is mapped against the inbound delivery document type, which in turn is trying to see whether these are the required documents which are existing or not. So for that, it is not able to find anything. So therefore, it is throwing us this error. Okay. So we can try to do one more thing instead of doing the mapping right now. Else we have to do the mapping. There's no other option. No way. So this is not okay. So we'll have to do the mapping. So let me just open another window. So it is coming in the reference document categories. So let me just open this. Goods receipt process, inbound delivery, define document types for inbound delivery process. One good thing is that with all this, what you guys are saying is like proper troubleshooting that you guys are saying. So this, from your knowledge perspective, it is very good actually. And you're going to face the same thing if you're setting up for a new client. So I think the whole course curriculum that you guys are going through, the objective is not just to make sure that you are able to provide support to your existing client, but also to provide support from an advanced production integration perspective in upcoming projects. So from that perspective, it is very helpful for you guys. So let us check ref doc category is this one. This one is, but the problem is that what it is calculating is this one. So therefore it is going through this. So if I just for now, I change this, like change it to this. Let's see, just for a quick test. Okay, I just execute this, execute. So I will rerun this transaction. Okay, bring it over here. Did you see immediately the delivery status changed from block? It's changed to green the moment we changed that. Okay. By the way, I did not ask you this question. I'm just nicely explaining you guys debugging. Do you guys know how to debug? That is the biggest question. Hello, guys?
No,
yes,
Ronnie. No. The basic debug also we are trying to learn from EWM point of view, but we have not get any training sessions for that.
Okay, so I will just quickly explain to you in a nutshell. Okay, so whenever you want to do a debugging for a particular error, just copy the whole message number. So when you try to debug, so I will show it to you. I'll give you an explanation. Wait, but let me just quickly finish this first. Let's see whether we are able to create a delivery now. So you can see the delivery is in a green status. But what I have done is not the right thing actually. I've changed the standard. I've changed the configuration for this particular delivery document type. Whereas the expectation is that the delivery document type that should be created for us is INBM, not INB. Okay, so we need to go and set up that particular setting. But since we have changed that, now the system is not looking for those reference documents that it was looking, ASN, bill of lading, all those things. So that's why it is showing us in a green status. And what it means is that I think we should also be able to now do this in the RFUI mode. Let's see, because in RFUI also we are getting the same error. So I'm interested to see whether we'll get the same error or not. So let me just go back to the RFUI part. Display packaging specification. Let me close this. Okay. Inbound processes, receiving of handling units by manufacturing order, ERP document reference. Okay, so now it is giving us a different error if you see. So earlier it was giving us ASN ball that reference, and now it is giving us a different error. So, and that is all because of the incorrect document reading that is happening from the system perspective. Okay, so let us quickly run that transaction again. I think we should be getting the same error over here as well. So let's see. Good. So now I can just share with you a bit of debugging part as well. Okay, fine. This is, so if I click over here now, okay, never mind. So I will make sure that I'm able to show this to you guys, because there's a lot of config settings that I will need to change now. But just for an understanding part, let me just show you. So you saw we got an error message, right? So when we get an error message, double click and go inside the error message. The most important thing is getting the message number. Now, remember, first of all, you do your basic troubleshooting whenever you're getting an error. And in EWM, the problem is that sometimes the error is not very clear in terms of explaining to us what exactly is the missing thing. So that is the problem. So therefore, sometimes we need to develop the debugging skill. And always, if you have a debugging skill, it is always beneficial for you, whether it is immaterial of any module. Okay. ECC debugging or S4 debugging or other modules like PP, MM, SD, these are very simple as compared to the debugging that we need to perform in EWM. Why? Because the EWM module overall, EWM, SAP, TM, Transportation Management, all these modules, they have used the inclusive options of OOPS methodology when they do the programming. So it's more or less so much of class method inclusions in a particular source program. So whenever you get an error, or if you simply try to debug a particular program, a source code, then you have to just keep going inside and inside and inside and inside to find the actual issue, the root cause. Okay. And sometimes, as I told you, even if you are putting the breakpoint on the error message, then you have to still, the error might not exactly be at that particular line. It will be before that. So you need to know where exactly you need to go and read. Okay. So that is very important. So now if I click on save and process further, I have activated the debugger. Okay, so this message number was different. So the ID would be this one, and the last 3 digits would be your number. Okay, so the breakpoint is set. So let's go in. Okay, so that error message was something to get a description or anything. And if you see over here, again, it is something related to the reference document. So the profile that we had set is not the right profile, basically. So reference document category also, you can see there are no entries in this structure. So basically there should at least be one category coming over here against which the reference document, or it should not look into reference document categories at all. So from that perspective also, that is very important. So you should know how to read structures. You should know how to read. So this is what you see on top is a structure. Okay. And this is, so this, if you go inside this, you will see the whole structure like this. So within that, you have to again go inside, and then you need to go and see what are the things that can be done. Now, sometimes certain data are very easy to manipulate, change from a debugging perspective. So that is when, if we get anything like that, I will show it to you. But when it comes to like program stacking, right? So I was talking about program stacking. So if you go over here, so this is the program stacking on the right side of the screen, if you see. Okay. So we have put the breakpoint in this particular stack 21. Okay. So this is the method. So if you see, this is on the top of the screen on the left over here. So this is the method scdl if_if. And on top of it is the class. So the architecture is that in SAP, there is a class, and within the class, there will be a method, right? So this class is getting called within the source code. So the source program would be different. So there's a program. Within the program, you have a class. Within the class, you have a method. Okay. So you see, these are the different methods which are being called. Okay. So although you're getting the error over here, no, it's not necessary that the issue is you can find it over here in this method itself. So you need to go deep inside. Maybe it will be somewhere over here or somewhere over here. So if you want to jump into that method, you can simply just double click over here and you can start executing, like keep pressing F5 is like going through each line, and then you can skip lines as well, F6, and then you can skip methods as well, F7. And if you click on F8, then it will completely execute. Okay. So it will just execute the program and will skip. So then since we have put a breakpoint, it will jump over there first. And from there, it will just straight away execute the program. Okay, so that is how you need to run. So I cannot give you the detailed thing because it's not a part of our curriculum, but this is how you can at least, so simpler errors. This is not, so this is something where we need to go deep inside and I'll have to find it out one by one where exactly the error is. But I will do it, don't worry. So I will show it to you. But the thing is, there are sometimes straight cut errors. So in straight cut errors, you will be able to see the exact data that is being passed. So if you click on the data, you will see that what is missing. And then you can immediately check in the corresponding table in SE16 or SE16N by opening another session. Or from there, you can also understand what is the relevant configuration that is missing or which is incorrectly mapped, and you can make the changes accordingly. Okay. But through here, you can understand what is happening. So this is how you generally do debugging. I would recommend you just try to, I mean, till the time if you want to go through some training or something like that, that is up to you guys. But I would recommend please keep practicing in the system. Whenever you guys get an error in a lower environments, not in the production environment, try to practice and see whether you are able to check this, try to understand the code, what it is saying. It will take some time. Okay, but try to read it like that. So within a class also, there's another object called function modules. Function modules can also be called. So a function module has got input parameters, and based on the input that is being pushed inside the function module, output is getting generated, right? So you need to understand how to read the inputs, how the output is getting generated, and all those things. Now, why this is important when you are working in EWM is because in EWM, there will be times when you will be required to use bodies, okay? So say, for example, now body is not a pure functional thing. It's a technical thing actually, okay? So when we talk about bodies, but before we talk about bodies, let me just change this config, which I had changed because this is not the profile which should be there. Inbound delivery, find document types for inbound delivery process, INB. Okay, so this one is where I changed it. Okay, save it. Okay, I will do this. So these mappings are not there actually. So that is why it is happening like this. So, okay, let it be. So I will make sure that this thing is working for you guys.
What sets ZaranTech apart in SAP corporate training? It's our unique blend of expertise and innovation. We offer customized courses tailored to each client's needs, ensuring relevant, targeted learning. Our vast trainer database brings you wisdom from the best in the field. Need resources? Access our extensive training material repository anytime. We are all about measurable results, providing detailed student metrics to track progress. And we don't just teach, we build community. Join our thriving social media network, connecting learners beyond boundaries. With ZaranTech, you are not just training, you are transforming your SAP expertise.
Show you guys both the methods, the RFUI as well, the GRPI methodology. Okay. So when it comes to goods receiving, so there is also a part where we need to understand that in EWM, when we are using EWM, there is an advanced functionality called MFS, Material Flow System. Okay. So Material Flow System is coming in the picture where you have got conveyor line systems, and those conveyor line systems are those robotic arms which are pushing the pallets onto the conveyor belt, taking out the pallets from the conveyor belt. So all those controls, you want it to be on the EWM side, system controlling that. So generally the EWM system, even for the production lines, at least what I have seen from my experience so far, there will be third-party systems, as I said, which will be controlling all those things. So from a technical perspective, we call those robotic arms. From a system perspective, you'll define it as programmable logical controllers, PLCs. Okay. So these PLCs can be controlled based on the configuration that we do in EWM. Now, this is not a part of advanced production integration, but it can be integrated with advanced production integration. Material flow system can be integrated with advanced production integration. How? That when you are receiving the material, as I had mentioned, then there is a telegram that will flow in from the third party system. So this third party system telegram will have the information of what will be the pallet number, what is the packaging material in the pallet, what is the quantity of the pallet, what is the product inside the pallet, what is the batch inside the pallet. Okay. So all those details will be inside that telegram, which will come into EWM, and in return, the handling unit will be created in EWM. Okay. So the handling unit, once it is created, it can be received under a normal process. So this particular information, as I mentioned, is coming in through telegrams, and this telegram structure you need to define and configure in the system. Okay. So all these things are over here, and within this you can see. So I don't know whether this telegram structure is being created or not. So it's not created, but the telegram structure will be over here. Okay. So over here, you would be able to see what are the different telegrams that are created with respect to which the structure. So the structure name will also have the function modules attached to it. So the function, so basically what is happening is that within a structure, you have the different keys or fields which will be pushed in, like handling unit type, handling unit number, product, batch, quantity. All these things will be a part of your telegram structure. Okay. And that will be pushed in through your third party system interface. So you need to define everything over here. So there are a lot of interface types and all these things. So this is a part of this entire configuration is a part of that. So in your current project, are you guys using EWM MFS? Okay, so it's not. It's that means it's. So what about the receiving information? It is. Okay. So you said that you're not aware about it, right? So kindly try to find this thing out if it's possible. How you can find it out? You can check with your super user. So whoever is your super user in your project, just check out how the. Sorry, you're saying something, Maria?
No.
Yeah. So check with your super user how the receiving is happening. I mean, how the communication is coming into EWM. Are you guys creating inbound delivery through GRPI? Is something created through expected goods receipt? So what is the procedure that is being used?
Okay.
You mentioned RFUI, but as I mentioned for RFUI,
no, I understood your question. Like even through RFUI, there must be something involved in creation of the IVD. Like
yes,
if I'm
exactly.
just okay.
Yeah. So what you can check is in your system, you can go to SE16. Okay, and just check first of all. Go to this table and check what is the work center which has been defined for your GR production. So if there is a work center defined, then maybe they are directly using RF and the work center login to do the receiving as well. What we were trying to do earlier and where we got stuck because of the configuration errors. Okay. So say for example, for this, if I run this, so you'll see all the work centers which are there, and also the corresponding goods movement bin as well. So in this one single table, you will find everything /SCWM/T work ST. So try to identify these mappings, and then you can also backtrace how it is happening. Okay. And also you can try to replicate it. I'm sure you must be having a development system. In the development system, create a manufacturing order and try to do the receiving the way we were trying to do the receiving in RFUI. That is also something which you can try. So, but before that, just check the work center, which is mapped over there, because you need to enter the work center when you are trying that option.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, we do that. That's what, like I was not aware because we also receive this way only. And, I would say, like with the limited knowledge I have, so I was aware that IVD is getting generated when I'm scanning, like through RF. So, but I'll check. Like,
okay.
Am I?
Thanks. So, now, when it comes to, the error that we were getting was for delivery document type mappings. So we need to understand that why we are doing this separately. We want to make sure because every delivery document type has got different profiles attached to it. Now, these profiles in turn are made to ensure that, it is checking the right things for the right process. Okay. So you see for production, what we want is that our document type should be INBM, right? So if it is INBM, then in that case, we need to make sure that the system when it is generating this document, it is trying to check the right things. So the checking of the things are based on the profile that we create. And within the profile, we are doing the mapping that what should be checked. Okay. So what I will do is, let me just try one thing first. Goods receipt process, inbound delivery. So defined document types is already there because we have seen. So if you go inside defined document types for inbound delivery process, you can see for text profile is this one. So let me just quickly check whether this is correct or not. So action profile is this one. PDI, these are all standard BC config sets. So it has automatically got, because this is not at warehouse level, if you can see. The document type is just it's a global config. So the moment you activate the basic configuration set in the EWM server, all these configurations will automatically populate. So PRD standard is okay. No ERP, no ERP. Perfect. So this mapping is correct. Now we need to go and check the item type mapping as well. So let's see that. Okay. So we will see PDI, IDPP. So this one. So inbound delivery standard item production. Okay, I and IDR both are there, so that is fine. Next, we will go to document type determination. So over here, let me change this 1 second. Wait, EGPDI, INBS, okay, EGRI, PDI, and then INBS is not existing. I'll put in INBM straight cut. Okay. Then this is also done. So let us go back one step back.
We have two warehouses, right? So in one of them, this is for the question that you were asking, no, whether what is if the work center is tagged to a bin for creation of inbound deliveries and all.
Okay.
So when in one of the plants, what is happening is that the moment the confirmation is done, okay, the GR completes in EWM. And we get that IBD created. So in that case,
yes, sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
So like I wanted to understand that, do we need to check the same thing in T work ST table for that setup also? No, right? If
no, so what do you mean that the moment this thing gets created automatically, how it is getting automatically created? Sorry.
So when the confirmation of the manufacturing order is being done in S4, so at that time itself, the delivery drops in EWM and the GR gets completed. So confirmation is linked to GR. That's how it works in one of the plants.
Okay.
So that is one setup, and the other one is what happens through RF, which I said that once we receive the handling unit, at that time we get the IVD created.
Okay. So yeah, and so in that case, you don't have to. But when you check your work center table, what it shows against your warehouse number?
It shows a GR. Yes, it has a different setup. Both the plants. So one of them do have GR zone production bin, tagged to the work centers. Like the work centers we input at the time of receiving, and the other one has blank. Like it is.
And the other one, which is blank, is it using EWM Advanced Production Integration?
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, it is using. Yes.
Okay, so it's using in terms of staging the materials. Yes. It is using, right?
Yes.
Okay. So again, the question comes back to consumption. So how are they doing the consumption? Is it through CO11, or once the goods are staged into the production supply area? So that means it is still within the EWM storage location, right? So how is the consumption happening in this case? Suppose I have pushed a few components, right? So how is the consumption happening? Okay. To make your life easier, how you can check that? Let me just share with you. So you go to the EWM monitor. Okay. Don't put a huge date range. Just take a couple of days. Okay. Go to documents, warehouse task, and you just remove open, cancel, warehouse task on hold. Take warehouse process category. So whatever is your warehouse process type, so don't push in if you're not sure what is the warehouse process type that is being used. Just use the process category, that is fine, and put a date range over here. Okay, let me just show you. Just put a date range over here, or on the confirmation time or the creation time, you can just put a date range and just execute the report. Once you execute the report, you will get the goods movement postings against goods issue process category for that particular 2 days. From there, you can bifurcate whether the goods issue movement was against a document, that means an outbound delivery, or if you just see the reference document as a warehouse task. So that means what has happened is the posting has been done against a manufacturing order. I'll show you the difference. Okay, so let me just do this, warehouse process category is this. I will put in the creation confirm by is this. Yeah, okay, so there are not many warehouse tasks, so because this is what have been posted using my ID, right? Goods issue posting movements. And if this was Z30, Z320 was also staging for production, and Y220. So let me just check this out. Okay, so you can see the document category over here for the goods issue posting. Since I did it against a manufacturing order, it will show PWR. So this is very important, remember. Okay. So that is how you can do a filtration. So let me just see whether you have document category over here in this selection screen. Do we see document category by any chance? We have stopped. No, we don't have a document category right over here. Otherwise, we could have simply used the filter over here directly. But in short, you can find out from here. I think the document category is, since it is showing over here, so you can use a filter over here as well. Let's go to change layout. Yeah, so we have this field document category. So what you can see over here within the variant as well. So what you do is in the document category, you put PWR in your system, in your client system. So once you generate this report, then you use a filter on the document category, put PWR, you will get all the goods issue movements against your manufacturing order. So from there, you can backtrace. You can identify from how this warehouse task got triggered. Did you understand?
Yeah.
So the other day, we were checking out something from the just-in-time perspective, if you remember. Okay, so that is also something which we still have to do. From our setup was complete in that session, but the services were not activated. So we had assigned the roles to our user ID, but we need to check out the service, right? So whether that service is activated. So for that, we need to make sure that when we go inside the service transaction, we need to ensure that those particular standard services are activated. Now, why do we need a service? Because when Fiori applications are being run, then the necessary services should also be there. Otherwise, it will not work, as I had mentioned to you. Okay, so let us try to see if I can do the installation of the services. Okay, let me just, so this one is the external service requirement. So from an external service perspective, let me put in, I'm afraid these services I don't think, fully it is there. Underscore CC underscore manage underscore SRV. Not there. Oh, okay. Underscore JIT underscore JIT call underscore SRV. Let me try over here. Nope. I will give you the list of the services which are being used over here, the technical services that you need to activate. So you need to speak with your Fiori team. So this is not something which is expected from the functional consultant to be done. This is supposed to be done by the front-end developer, not your ABAP back-end developer. So they need to activate a list of services. So these services need to be added and activated first, and then the corresponding user roles also need to be activated. So that is also very important. And then from there onwards, you need to make sure that the respective Fiori applications are also activated. And from there, we have already done the configuration, which is required in the back-end perspective. We have also activated the BC set, the basic configuration set required for just-in-time and just-in-sequence. But these things need to be done. So we don't have a Fiori expert right now, but I will check with ZaranTech if they can get someone on board and see whether these applications can be configured or not. But actually, just-in-time is not a part of direct advanced production integration, but it is a topic which is integrated with EWM. So when we are using EWM systems, we can use just-in-time and just-in-sequence as well. It is not a part of your advanced production integration topic because it is not directly correlated with your consumption process. So the entire process is completely different over there. But still, I will share all those details with you. because the services, as I can see, the technical service name from a backend perspective is not available right now, so that I can directly just go ahead and add the service. But I will check whether it can be done. So 1 second, I just saw this one, and then I was typing it why it was not coming. Just replenish. This, what I'm doing right now, is not, as I told you, it's not something which a functional consultant will do. Okay, but this is something I'm doing so that you will also understand what happens. So you can, when you are creating a service, you can add a user role as well to that. So from that perspective, you can simply assign that only this particular user will be able to use this service, because the service is something which is getting called from your application. So whatever is inside the service, so the service has inbuilt class method call. So that if you are not assigning a role, that means everyone can access. But if you're assigning a role, that means only that particular user ID with this particular role can have access to this particular service. Okay, you have to specify a package. Let me just the standard packages. Okay, so the system will ask me to create a workbench request service activation. Okay, so this is done. So it is getting, I've pressed on enter on my system, but it's just taking its own time. Service was created, metadata was loaded successfully. Okay, perfect. Let me show you guys one thing. I'll just take a minute. ZAP. Yes. So you see this one. Okay. So within this, if there is anything Z that will be done, then this over here, you will be seeing the descriptions, the class, methods, service implementation. If you click over here, so this needs to be done, the service implementation. So since it is not showing, so it is, let me just, so all these are, they have just activated it. They have not added any sort of implementation. So that needs to be done, and you need to push in the relevant details over here. And over there inside, when you go inside the service, you will find the class and method which is responsible for this. So I can see over here the JIT call, the cycle calls, the ZAPI and JIT managed service. So if you see, so if I go inside this, so this is the one which I was trying to add, API and JITCCYC manage underscore service. Then you have the one over here, outcall request replenishment underscore service. Then there's another one for, let me just try to put a filter over here and see whether that is also available now. JIT control cycles underscore SRV. No, that has not yet come in. Okay. Show you guys the goods receipt process from the RFUI as well as the inbound delivery part, where we were stuck. Our warehouse process type and all those things are already configured. We have done that part in the system. Work center we have defined, we have mapped the storage bins against the work center. We are getting an error in terms of the inbound delivery document type determination, because the delivery document type that has been currently determined is INB instead of INBM. Okay. So the moment that is done, we will be able to create the inbound delivery.